and then you may be inclined to support that. So anyway, and
there's always a threshold of
yeah.
fear about getting involved, and
Yeah.
then you're going to be spending all of your time, and it's not going to be any fun, and I'm going to have to do this. And actually, the totally opposite is what occurs. I mean, your children will, if they see a trolley car somewhere, they're going to remember standing and being there with you and seeing that you were down there doing it. It's going to be association that they have in their mind, one of those. And so I think volunteer work is a great way. That's equally as important as giving money to your community. But all these build communities and the institutions that make it a wonderful place for us to live and for raise our children.
Right. And but there's lots of local groups too. So there's, you mentioned, I think, like Martha's Kitchen, or maybe the local soup kitchen or whatever, but you know, and especially, again, we're the holiday season, there's families that are volunteering to spend their Thanksgiving to help out. Salvation Army, your public library, especially these times of budget cuts and so forth, they desperately need volunteers. Hospitals, there's the old candy striper thing, but they need volunteers for various things. People are docents at historic sites and so forth, or state parks. So there's lots of opportunities to volunteer. Of course, it's sort of the bandwagon thing for Obama's administration, but in the past we had Bush Sr. was talking about was 1,000 points of light or whatever, which was a great idea. So this is just a great way to get into that giving spirit, because you're giving of yourself personally in addition, you know, to the money. The money is something, though, that's good too, because, you know, we sort of have a special relationship to it, like you said, and to be able to give some of it.
Well, one of the things that occurred to me during the talking to people, particularly about their assets when they just lost a third or 40% of them in a matter of months, and how it affected them psychologically, I began to realize that what you turn to are the thing you have to turn to, the things that are really important in your life, which are usually your family and those institutions that are important to you, and you find in them the support, and you realize the value of those, that it isn't just the number on the balance sheet or your IRA statement. This is something much more important than that, because this will sustain you. That money may not. You may die. You may get an illness. I mean, it's not the money. It's the person and the relationships, and it's the community.
Right. Okay. We talked a little bit about where can you find opportunities, and so one of the things that we talked about is, especially in the holiday season, in our local newspaper, the San Jose Mercury, and hopefully in community newspapers for other people who may see this, they list opportunities sometimes of organizations that are looking for volunteers. And so there's no reason why, if you saw something that was of interest there, you know, for you not maybe to look into that. That might be something helpful for you. Another thing was, I found some internet clearinghouses particularly for the Bay Area that I thought I'd mention. So one is onebrick.org. So you may, I guess it's the idea of that each of us are putting in a brick to help to build our community. And then there's another one that's called rootsandshoots.org. And I think that one is like more national, maybe even international. And then there's another one called smartvolunteer.org. So these are places that our viewers can go and look for ideas to get involved. Okay, so before I get to maybe my last question, maybe there are some other things that you wanted to bring up in our conversation here that maybe I haven't quite hit on yet.
I don't think so. I think I've covered my thinking that the more you have, the more opportunities you have to give. But our society seems to, I blame Benjamin Franklin for this. He seems to, the philosophy of a penny saved is a penny earned. the philosophy of always being prudent has morphed into the more money you have, the more you should keep it and the better you'll be, which is quite opposite. I don't think he had that in mind, but I see that in clients and them being afraid that they will lose their money.
Yeah.
And but beginning a gifting program and thinking about giving to the community when you die will begin to shatter that structure.
Yeah. So some of this, and again, I'm trying to sort of keep focused in the scope of what we're talking about here, but we talked about this a little bit before, that it's okay for the guy that this is all they can afford to give their $25 and so forth, or $50 or whatever it is, public television and so forth, to support these various causes. But for the people that have more, they have an opportunity to make more of an impact if they make some bigger gifts or bequests. And income tax wise, one great way to do it is stock, because then you don't have to pay the tax on the capital gains if in fact you have a capital gain built into that stock. But nonetheless, by giving more, you have that much more of an opportunity to make a bigger impact.
Well, there's certainly many, many tax ways to leverage your giving, and but too often I find attorneys and CPAs even and other people that they get into the techniques of how you can deduct this and you can use a charitable remainder trust, and before the person has made any commitment to doing anything, and I find that
putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, and they will continue to ask questions, and if you know the answers to these questions about how you could do this tax deal or that tax deal, you'll keep in. I keep answering them, realizing I'm wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, they have to have a reason.
Yeah, I mean they're being entertained.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean, it's all in a sense it becomes gimmicks.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so you have to have a reason, and so that's why we want to build this value.
Well, the central point is you're trying to help people give, and when you start talking about tax saving, you've changed their whole mode of thinking from giving to keeping. How much can I keep if I give this away? And you've lost the moment and the benefit for the donor. They're not, they should be thinking giving, and then how I could give. Oh, I could tax it. I could give even more.
Yeah.
So that's my my message to people that are seriously considering this.
Good. Okay, John, well, I want to thank you again very much for being my guest today.
All right.
It's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. I hope that I'll have another opportunity in the future to have you. Maybe we'll talk about a different topic, or maybe we'll get back in this again.
Okay.
But anyway, to remind people about the importance of this. But from that, I want to thank our people here who are watching us today for watching the show, and hope that you'll join us again on the next edition of Financial Insider Weekly.